Hey y'all, welcome back to Key is King. We are reviewing the creme de la creme today. Salt Lake City, we are at season 5, episode 15. And we're almost ending. This is the second to last episode of the season. The greatness is coming to a close, and it better go out swinging like I know it will. Because this episode was full of what we love. It was full of what we love. And we are opening day 3 of Mexico with Lisa, of course. She is reeling from the dinner that she stormed off from, saying she wanted to go home. And she's just trying to process everything that happened to her, especially given the fact that Bronwyn went and talked shit about her after the yacht ride, and then went to her room after dinner to backpedal and just throw everybody under the bus. And so she's telling Meredith and Lisa this. And for those of you that need a reminder, the girlies were talking about how Lisa and Meredith are familiar with the idea of infidelity or being accused of infidelity, which is why they took Todd's side and then didn't believe Bronwyn. But Bronwyn went and was messy as shit, and for what? Like, once again, I'm not over the fact that she's proving Heather gay, of all people, to be right. Unforgivable crimes. Unforgivable crimes against humanity. Making Heather gay right is high on the list. But we move on from Bronwyn being a turncoat. Like, she is literally, she doesn't know what she wants to do besides not be in her marriage, apparently. Or expose herself. It's just weird that she's exposing herself to be, like, weird like this. Like, she's having, like, mini strokes, I guess. But they flash to Mary really quickly being happy to wake up in Mexico in the thought of Robert Jr. being in rehab and safe. Although she can't really talk to him the way she wants to, Mary's happy that Robert Jr. is somewhere where he can be good for now. And I agree. Shout out to Robert Jr. We then move on to Meredith going over to Heather's room because, you know, they are OG besties. Truly, I don't think they've had, like, real issue, unlike her and Lisa. But Meredith is very pissed off with Brittany, and you know Meredith can hold a grudge, and you know she likes to sit and think about why she's mad. So she's sat and thought about it, and she is pissed off that Brittany is insinuating that she has an eating disorder, or maybe like a drug problem. Meredith is like, she's accused me in between the lines of like 3 different things, and I'm offended. The way she pronounced international flight is taking the world by storm. Heather's a fake-ass bitch. Every time I watch somebody talk to Heather, I'm just like, she is just figuring out how she's going to store all this information and, like, bring it up later. But with this one, Meredith is ready to go. I don't think Heather needs to really step in on her behalf at all. Because Meredith is not only going to investigate this, she's going to figure out why. I mean, I guess that's what investigating is, right? But Meredith is like, oh, I got it. I'm going to figure out what her intention is and why she's doing this stuff. Like, what is wrong with her? But Meredith is activated. And we knew she'd be activated on this trip, but we didn't really know why, but now we got it. So after that little appetizer, we get into the Sprinter van because we know the Sprinter van is where it all goes down. And Salt Lake is the top of the line for Sprinter van moments. But Lisa kicks it off with, I heard you guys had a conversation about me, and I want to know who said what? Who said that? So they're all just like, oh, like, fuck, like, what's going on? And it's revealed that Bronwyn had gone to Lisa's room to tell her about the conversation. And Bronwyn is, like, exposed for essentially, like, half lying and being messy in her retelling of the story and her recollection of the details. And it's very clear, nonetheless, that they were talking shit about Lisa. Now, in my opinion, Angie said the least. But, of course, Angie and Whitney get thrown out as, like, the martyrs for the situation. And Heather's kind of just like sitting back when Heather is the one that let the infidelity line slip through her lips. So what are we doing? And Bronwyn, she's trying, well, we know what she's doing. She's trying to save face with Lisa so badly, but she's kind of starting to move like Brittany a little bit, the woman she so much despises. And so they're like, wait, what the fuck what's happening? What's going on? And Lisa, of course, because it's Lisa, she takes this opportunity to go the fuck off. She's spazzing on everybody, with Bronwyn fanning her flames. So Bronwyn's playing double agent. Angie stops her in her tracks, and she's like, no, not really, don't think so. And so Lisa continues to go off, And people are trying to like tell her and interrupt her because Lisa's asking, well, who said what? And so this causes Whitney to go off on Lisa. She's like, Lisa, shut the fuck up. Like, you asked us a question, let us answer it. Of course, Lisa doesn't want to be talked to like that, and don't talk to me like that, and you're a fucking bitch all of a sudden. So now Whitney's a fucking bitch because she told her to shut up after trying to answer the question that she asked. Like, girl, you're way too old for that shit. But Hilling Whitney was like, oh, you want to call me a bitch? You're a fucking cunt. And of course, nobody can handle the word cunt. It's become one of my favorite words in the past year, for real. And Bronwyn's like, that's too far. Lisa's like, oh, you want to call me a cunt? Da, 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 da. And so, as the world is just dissolving around them and they're arguing and they are B's and C's and people don't appreciate it, Angie happened to look over at Brittany and she's like, Brittany, why are you recording us? And Brittany is caught camera rolling on her cell phone, recording the back of a seat. Baby. When I tell you they verbally jumped her in this van, Meredith hit the ceiling of that Sprinter van so fast. And you know Meredith is a pill-popping, fake British. She don't need much. Let her get a bit of emotion, because she's always popped and ready to go, it seems like. She went off. Capital A, capital W, capital F. She went off. The shit was so funny. Lisa forgot that she was mad at everybody else, that she just got called a cunt. She's mad at Brittany. I don't want to be around you if you were recording me. Mary is just egging everything on the entire time. She literally, Meredith said she was disgusted by her. She can't believe she had her in her house. And, oh, Mary's like, get her, Meredith. Get her, Meredith. Ooh, when I tell you this was peak fucking Sprinter van cinema, my God. These women are fucking hilarious. Hilarious. Did I say hilarious? I forgot. In the middle of all that, Heather was really trying to back up Whitney, but like Lisa heard cunt and could not hear anything else. But Brittany is like trying to defend herself. She said she was sending her daughter a video because she got a good grade on like a fucking math test or some shit like that. Just saying anything. In the moment, she changed her story like 3 or 4 times because they were all Heather turned everybody fucking turned on Brittany, and it was the most glorious day for the people in my can't stand weird ass Brittany club, because all that shit had me fucking dying laughing. So they are fucking this woman up, like they are and she's like in the front corner of the van, so they're all just like gawking and screaming. They're up out of their chairs, they're pointing. And she is trying to explain how she's recording a video. Production, because this is the Housewives, so they're going to call you on your shit no matter who you are. They literally have her on camera filming the back of the seat for 20-something seconds before she gets called out. Baby, you are not recording. You are not recording a video for your daughter. Like, oh, weird ass Brittany. This was the most satisfying fucking freak out I've ever seen in my life. She starts freaking the fuck out and crying. She runs off the Sprinter van. Whitney eventually takes that bait and goes and checks on her. Mary does not give a fuck. Mary's like, she should be crying. That's what she deserves. She deserves that. Like, Mary's just going in about how she does not feel bad for weird ass Brittany, and I don't blame her. I agree with her. I was Mary in this moment, and this is the shit that people are like, oh, I love Mary now. Mary's always been that girl. She's always been fucking hilarious. But naturally, in this group of women, Mary would definitely, and she does eat them every time. So, this was hilarious. I enjoyed every second of this scene. When I tell you, if you can't tell, baby. And so, in the midst of like, because Angie, when Brittany gets off the Sprinter van crying, is like, oh my God, like, she's trying to she didn't really try to comfort her, she just stated the obvious, that Brittany's not fucking smart. She's not like the sharpest fucking tool in the shed. And so Heather tries to comfort Angie in the middle of that, and it's just like, oh, look who's talking, as if Angie's like some dumb bitch. Angie's not a dumb bitch, so like, Heather, once again, I'm glad you said that shit and reminded me and everyone else that you still fucking suck and don't have good judgment. Like, I hate how they try to play Angie sometimes. Like, don't do it. Angie has more charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent than like half you broad, so really. But I loved the freak out because Brittany was just like, she's psychotic. Mental illness is real in that woman. That is Salt Lake City's Girl Interrupted. Seriously. So after Brittany's emotional meltdown and her trying to explain herself to Whitney, and Whitney's like, I'm not dumb. Which I love because Whitney is not as dumb as she fucking sounds. And so, well, it's like 50-50. Half the time she's not as dumb as she like fucking sounds and looks, but sometimes she really be like with it. And Whitney's like, yeah, no, not fucking fooling me, which is just so funny to me. Also, Whitney's like side eye faces this season have been taking me out. She be looking at these bitches like, girl, I'm telling you, her being on Ultimate Girls Trip saved her whole shit. Like, it triggered something in her, I think, being around a black woman that she liked, and wasn't secretly like maybe racist or prejudiced towards, allegedly. But I think being around Candace really changed Whitney's life. I really do. You can't convince me otherwise. Ever since Whitney has been on Ultimate Girls Trip, she's been different. Let me know if you agree. But they go onto the ATV ride, and Heather's such a fake bitch. She's clearly embarrassed, and I think she went on to explain that if it wasn't on the show, it was definitely the after show. But she's just so embarrassed that she brought Brittany to this group and how Brittany's acting. But she's like mad that she had to ride with Brittany in the ATV because it made them pair up instead of riding in like groups. Next, literally bringing the bus. Next. But they show them on their little ATV adventure. Why do black people specifically love to be like, oh, that little, it's always that little something. They're on an ATV adventure. And Ange hates it. She is a stylist, a hairdresser. She's a pretty lady. And she's like, this is so dirty. It's like, so I just loved her commentary during it. She just seemed to not be enjoying herself that much. But they pull up to this like sketchy like Lego bridge that's just suspended over the thing. But obviously they're on TV. They're not about to die on TV. And these people clearly do this shit like as a tourism activity. So the bridge looks sketchy as shit. But they drive their ATVs over it. It leads to this like beautiful rock jumping, almost like cenote-esque type of body of water. And so they're doing that. They're jumping off rocks. Brittany's jumping off of rocks. And nobody's impressed. Lisa's like, you jumping off a fucking rock is not going to make me forget that you were just recording me an hour ago. And it was so funny. Lisa cracks me up even though she seems like, once again, we'll go over this again, she seems like a trash person in real life. On the Housewives show, she's amazing. That is Bravo math for that ass. So she is talking about shit about Brittany. She's like, yeah, bitch, you can jump all you want. We didn't forget. She's like, but she does look in her bikini. Like, I'll give her that. And see, this is the type of shit I'm talking about. Give credit where credit's due, even if somebody fucking sucks. Like, it's not that hard. Give credit where credit's due. Shitty people do some nice, good things sometimes. Like, so, credit where credit's due. Apparently she looks great in a bikini, but she's still mentally ill. So, to some people that doesn't matter. And apparently in that moment, Lisa was willing to give her credit. So fucking funny. So after all that ATV riding, they go to, of course, they go to lunch, which also is in a nice little area. And immediately it's coming for Britt and her changing stories because her story has changed about 5 times in like the hour and a half that all this has happened. So she's still trying to nail down whatever she's saying. She's arguing with producers in her confessional about what she was doing and how she was recording. Like, bitch, you're on a television show. We fucking see you, broad. Like, what? So she's doing whatever, and it turns into this, like, pity party fucking thing, and she's confessing that the only thing she's ever lied about is that she does fuck Jared, her Osmond on and off again boyfriend. And Mary's like, who cares? What are we talking about? And thank you, Mary. The women agreed, the nation agrees, the aliens probably fucking agree. Like, what are we talking about? This is not diverting from the fact that you are a snake, a weirdo, and a psycho. Like, this woman is tapped. The Mormonism has rotted her brain, I think. Like, what are we doing? I was so happy Mary said that shit because, agree. At first, this whole pity party shit was fucking getting on my nerves. Literally hated it. Hated it, hated it, hated it. But then the woman took it a different direction, and then, plot twist, I found myself fucking crying. Do you know how annoyed I was? I was like, what is going on? What's going on? But they moved the conversation. Brittany was trying to say just like, it's a big deal for me to say that, like, da-da-da-da-da. And so they moved it more to like, how they felt ostracized for doing something that was just like so important to them. Like Bronwyn was talking about like, my daughter is like the most important thing to my life, and people literally like shamed me and like ridiculed me for it. And Heather was relating in a similar way. Like I was literally shedding a tear alongside of like Heather, and did not fucking hate her in that moment. It was like relating to her. I was like, what is going on? Just baffled. Befunkled, whatever the fucking fake words are. I was goobed and gagged at my own emotional response. But mind you, this New Year's kicking off with a lot of different things happening at one time, personally in my life. So like, either way, I probably would have cried, but like, I was like, not my shit talking turning into like tear dropping. Oh my god. It was a wild time in this living room. It was a wild time. They really did have this like nice little moment. And Meredith at the end of it was like, nope, you still recorded me. Meredith kept the foot on Brittany's neck and was like, that was all cute, that was all nice. Sorry for you, but no. It's not working for me. You recorded us. And I had to, she brought me back. That stopped the tears immediately. I was like, you're right. Fuck that bitch. But it was the nice little, for me it was a nice little cherry on top of a very plot twisty scene. Expect the unexpected. It's like Survivor over on this bitch. Or is that Big Brother? It might be Big Brother. Before moving on from this scene, I've done a little research. And the main crux of the tears and the emotional moment was that at the core of it, Bronwyn said it best, the internalizing of the shame and the opinions you wear of other people and the effect it has on you is what ended up being what these ladies talked about. That was the direction Brittany took all of her stuff in. And that was the real shit, because that shit is so true. I'm just entering my 30s and just trying to work myself out of those types of things. So like, internalizing that shit is real. People do their best to just kind of get into your head and really kind of take you down, especially when they don't have shit going for them or they have something that they're upset or projecting. So that really hit. So at the end of the day, bullshit aside, we are humans and we go through a lot of things that are very fucking similar, and that was one of those things that even a group of women that get on my nerves, like these are probably 3 at this point of my least favorite cast members on this show, but when shit's real, and they were saying some real fucking shit. So it was worthy of a plot twist, I'll say it that way. After that lunch, the girls went shopping. They bought a little like dick skirt thing at a cute little outside market. It looked really nice. After that, they show a quick little scene of Mary and Angie, which is giving me pause after the preview of the next episode, because they seem to have some type of like tension. It's giving that Angie said something about Robert Jr., and I hope that's not the case. And if it is the case, I hope it like really made sense to why she did and they moved past it. Mind you, they're doing the after show together and they seem to be friends still, but like, I don't know. I'm just like worried that anytime they kind of like foreshadow things or show things too much, it means something either really good is happening or something really bad's about to happen. But they move on to Meredith going over to Heather's room before dinner to be like, I was thinking about the Brittany stuff and I've never been able to hear anybody from my room, so like how did she hear me? And if she heard me, does that mean she's like essentially have a listening device in my room? So they go back and play fucking old lady detective in Meredith's room, and they're looking for listening devices, which is clearly just like a production inspired like filler type scene. But it was just like kooky and like kind of like rom-com level of like campy. But they're searching Meredith's room to no avail for a listening device. And that's how we spent a few minutes in this episode, just watching them turn over shit to find nothing. Okay. Okay. I literally described it as a high-ass scene. Like, it looked like something that would have been like Pineapple Express. I don't fucking know. I was like, did they do some pills and like come up with this idea? So after Meredith and Heather have their little moment, they move on to dinner. And of course, we open dinner with Angie investigating Bronwyn and her messiness, trying to figure out what Bronwyn was going through and how she got to the conclusion to her story. And then we also discover why Heather apparently thinks she's like the smartest one, or thinks at least Angie's stupid, because Bronwyn used one of her like words, her Shakespeare words as they called them in the past, during her conversation with Angie, and Angie's like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. And Heather's like, da-da-da-da-da, to be this, that, and that, like whatever. So Heather practices the dictionary apparently, and that is why she is so smart and Angie's so dumb, according to her shade. But Angie's like, what is happening? Like, I feel like you twisted everything, blah, 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 blah. So they're going back and forth. I didn't even write a clear conclusion because I don't think one was really reached, other than like an agree to disagree, like that's not what happened type of thing, but like, whatever. Meredith decides it's now her time to take over, and she's investigating Brittany and however Brittany got her information and what she heard. It's now been revealed that by this point that she was on the phone with her husband crying, which thickens that plot a little bit, because like, what's going on over there in Zan World? What's happening? What's going on? But Meredith is coming at Brittany and she's like, I think you put a recording device in my room, which Whitney can't handle. She's like, oh, this bitch has lost it. The pills have really started to eat her brain. A few people think this is just completely outrageous, but Meredith is dead ass serious. She's like, I think you did. How would you know what I was saying otherwise? But they're riding back in their golf carts from dinner, and they bring up the conversation once again about like Bronwyn and the conversation that was had, and kind of who said what and all that stuff. Heather's messy ass, in avoiding saying what the fuck she said about her friend and her little clique member, is trying to say that they were talking about having an emotional affair and how they're okay with having an emotional affair or something. Completely changes everything. Gives Meredith the wrong impression, which Meredith, she's kind of a crash out at this point, takes, and Meredith fucking slowly goes off. Until the point that she's like screaming. So she's like, I never said that. Who said that? Talking about my affair. Like there was no infidelity happening. Which at this point we know that Meredith was fucking when she was separated from Seth. Because she was like, we were separated. There was no cheating. Which some people might say when you're separated from your spouse and you're fucking other people, that's cheating. Maybe separated people, if they have an understanding that we're separated and we're doing our own thing until we get a divorce and then get back together, sure. But like I said, Meredith was hunching during the separation, and she wants to make it clear that she did not cheat because she was separated. And so she has caused this whole fucking discourse, and she's slurring her way into the villa, and she's like, Heather, I want to make sure I understand what you were saying. And Heather so badly wants to go back to let's find the listening devices. She is so willing to throw Brittany under the bus to avoid Meredith and the fact that she said something about her. And Meredith is like, Meredith's not having it. She was like, you can do that. I'm not doing that. You want to play. Everyone here is lying on me and lying on my name. And she is going to bed. She is done with all of them, Heather included. And Heather's shook. She's like, you're yelling at me? Like, what's going on? Like, da-da-da-da-da. So Meredith is not having it. She said, you guys are fucking liars. You're talking shit about me and my marriage. I'm done. She retires herself, her British accent, and her Xanaxes to her room. Lisa, of course, as the host of the trip, and Meredith's clique member and best friend is like running after her. And Meredith's like, you should not trust any of them. They're talking about my marriage. Da-da-da-da. Screaming. Now, they're all standing in the hallway listening. They go from the hallway to like creeping up to the door. And Mary being Mary, of course, it goes, no wonder Brady could hear her from her room. Like, geez. Which is just obviously comedic timing and genius. But Meredith is then referencing somebody out there, and like, I'm sure she can hear me. Now, mind you, I don't know if it's Brittany she's talking about in this moment or if it was Heather, but either way, Meredith is mad at everybody, and we love when Meredith gets mad at everybody because nobody's safe. Literally nobody is safe. But that's how we end the episode, and we know that next episode is the season finale of one of the best seasons of Housewives fucking ever. It's definitely top 10. I can't even go through my mind right now if it's top 5, but we are watching greatness. We really, really are. But that was the end of the episode. This is the end of my review. Please, I'm going to take this away. Do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe as always. And I will catch you soon for something. I'm trying to think, what do I have planned on my little docket of things? But I do have some stuff brewing, so I will catch you soon for something else. I appreciate the love and support always.